All right, you were looking at my buddies, my neighbors. I'm standing in my front yard. You're looking at my neighbor's property over there. His horses are all over here, and that pond is loaded with fish, and they are delicious. Anyway, I want to talk to you just for a minute. I made a video the other day and accidentally deleted it last night when I was on my YouTube channel messing around. So I'm going to kind of redo it. I was talking about the DHS and what they have said about the possibility of a solar flare, a country, or a terrorist attack on the electrical grid. Some sort of cyber attack is very possible, and it could wipe out the electrical grid for anywhere between 2 and 6 months or longer. That could disrupt and shut down the transportation system, healthcare, blah, 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 and all the rest. Well, if you're anything like me, you already know all that anyway, but it does, when you hear it, it does kind of strike fear in you a little bit. So I want to encourage you to be more self-sufficient and start thinking in line with that sort of thing. You know, our ancestors, no matter what race you are, your ancestors weren't dependent on a system like we have right now. They were dependent on what you're looking at out there. And they knew how to forage. That's eat wild edibles, what they could eat, what they couldn't eat. They could look at a tree and tell you what kind of tree it was. They could trap, fish, hunt. They could travel by foot and build a shelter and stay in it for a night and then move on and keep on traveling. They could make fire with a couple of pieces of wood, a couple of sticks, and it just goes on and on. And, you know, people talk about the ancient ways and the ancient paths and the ways of old. Well, that is the ancient path, the ancient ways. That is the ancient path. And we have veered from that, and we have come dependent upon this system that we have today, which doesn't make any sense at all. So to be dependent on it is crazy. If you'll clear your mind for just a little while and meditate on that right there, how you are dependent on this system, and it is a new system, man-made system. It's a new man-made system. What you're looking out here, this system out here, this is not man-made. So anyway, however you believe, if you believe people have been on the planet for millions of years or thousands of years, it doesn't matter. We've been on the planet for a long time, and it's only in recent times that we have come up with a system like this that is it's not sustainable at all, and it will come to an end one day. And I don't mean to sound like enough, but it's true. We can't keep going like we're going. Don't want to get into all that too much, but I just want to encourage you to be more self-sufficient. Hey, look, after what the DHS has said about the cyber attacks and all that on electrical grid, and you know what's going on around the world. All you got to do is open your eyes and see what's going on around the world today. The world isn't doing real good. The planet as a whole, it's not doing real good. So learn how to forage, learn your wild edibles, learn how to trap, learn how to hunt, learn how to fish, learn how to grow, raise, butcher your own food, cultivate your gardens, learn all that stuff. Be more self-sufficient. You don't have to live like an Amish person, but be more self-sufficient. And two, I want to talk to you just for a minute. If you have a piece of land at all, an acre, 2 acres, hey, first let me say this. Make sure that you're prepping. Make sure you have a year's supply of food. It's nothing but security. you've got insurance on your car and your house and all this stuff. Well, get food insurance. And this is how you do it. A year's supply of food, access to good drinking water, make sure you have that. A year's supply of toilet paper, feminine products, diapers, ibuprofen, over-the-counter medicines, prescription medicines. Get all that stuff. Whatever you use, your supply, it's insurance. You got car insurance, you got house insurance. Go get this insurance. If you have children and you don't have food insurance, then shame on you. Anyway, if you got you a piece of property, an acre, 2 acres, whatever, hey, cut you some off in the back part of your property and get you some real food insurance and start growing you some perennial vegetables. Now, berries and the fruits too, which are blackberries and raspberries and muscadines and stuff like that. You don't have to touch them. You just get them growing and walk away from them. They'll take over an area, so make sure it's not in your front yard. But get you some stuff like Jerusalem artichokes growing. They'll take over an area and it can be a staple food, and you just leave them alone. They store in the ground. You don't have to dig them up and store them in the refrigerator. They store right in the ground. Study all this out, what I'm telling you, and start doing some of it. Jerusalem artichokes, some daylilies, some ground nuts. On the ground nuts, the tubers. Jerusalem artichokes, it's the tubers, it's the roots that you'll eat. The ground nuts, you can eat the seeds and the flowers. The ground nut is a relative of wisteria, which on the wisteria you can only eat the flowers. But the ground nuts, and you got ferns out there, like the ostrich fern, the fiddlehead, you can eat those. And these things kind of take over an area. These things I'm talking about right now are wild, edible type perennial vegetables. Sorrels, ramps are the wild leeks, purslane, and there's many more, but them are enough to get you started and get you to thinking about it and studying it out. These things will take over an area, and so you got to kind of keep them contained, but it's food security. And I know I sound crazy, but let something happen, and if you're not doing this stuff, you'll actually be the crazy one, not me. So hey, if you have a family, take care of them. Anyway, we'll see you.